Welcome everybody, this is Wargamer Shawn. I'm here to bring you another video. Exciting. I'm going to do a question and answer because it's been since June 16th that I did one. So we'll do one and go from there. I have a couple videos coming that are battle reports that I need to get up. I just wanted to kind of get this video out because I've been meaning to do it for a long time and haven't. Excuse my my daughter's helping me today, so if you hear some noise, that's probably her. So let's get started with the questions from last time. The first one is Beer, Nick. His question is, you're invited to play a game of 40K with no points limit. You can play whatever you want, and you don't know what your opponent will have. What would you take? I mean, it depends on my opponent, I guess. And I don't know, maybe I'm not supposed to know my opponent either. If I know my opponent, and right now I'm kind of in more of like a kind of relaxed or like fun mood. If I know my opponent, I would gear it towards my opponent. Meaning, if I had an opponent that wanted to play really competitively, then I would probably take like take my Eldar or Tau, you know, to kind of give them. Yeah, that's probably the more competitive build armies that I have right now, that I have like painted and available. My Space Wolf one isn't bad, but it's really geared. What I have painted is like 1850, and so it's like it's pretty pigeonholed. So, and it may not be that good depending on what list I face. If I know my opponent and I know, you know, they're kind of more like having fun type thing, then I would probably do like you know, Sisters of Battle, or, you know, Gene Stealer Cult, or Tyranids, or you know, Inquisition, or, you know, some kind of, you know, just something fun, or something to kind of just kind of goof off with more. Maybe my Dark Eldar too. I like my Dark Eldar a lot, just playing fun. Yeah, probably those. If I don't know, and I don't know who I'm playing against, honestly, right now, the state of mind that I'm in, I'd probably just bring something fluffy that I just want to play. And if I got stomped, I got stomped. I mean, that's the way 40K is, unfortunately, right now. If you don't talk to your opponent ahead of time, and if you're playing a fluffy list and you risk running into competitive, you're probably going to get stomped. So that's the answer to my question. Don't know if that's quite what you had wanted, but thanks for asking. Appreciate it, man. Next one is from Will. He said he received his copy of Champions of Fenris. Now, this was back in June, so I apologize. This is a little old. Fenris painting guide. There were many formations, centerpieces, 3 formations from the respective companies. What my question is are there benefits for running these formations, or would I find them in the Curse of the Wolfen book? So I kind of answered him right away in the question below, because I didn't want him like waiting till I did my Q&A. I did tell him that the formations were in the Curse of the Wolfen book, and it also kind of depends on how you want to run it. You know, like I always kind of like the black main, so I kind of went the black main way. And not so much that I like the black mains more than any of the other ones. It's just that I like their paint scheme. That's kind of the way I wanted to paint, because I like the little wolf head symbol on the shoulder pad. So that was purely aesthetic that I chose it. I like the other, you know, groups too, but that's what I decided. And I may play like, you know, Iron Wolves, and I may play, you know, different pieces of the Space Wolves, but that's you know, that's what I decided to go with. Sorry, my daughter's playing with looks like a dump truck. Anyway, Victor Hughes says, good update in Q&A. Good luck with the campaign. A question for your next Q&A. If you only can keep one army for your collection, what would that army be? Or, that's really tough, and that's a good question, because that's a really tough one. I mean, wow. I mean, honestly, if I could kind of cheat the system a little bit, then I would pick. I would say, oh, I want to keep my Eldar army, and so that I would try to like include. Well, Eldar, there's Dark Eldar, and there's Harlequins, so yeah, I can keep all of those, right? Then that would be the easy choice, and mainly not just because I'd be able to keep more of it, but they were kind of my, the Harlequins were my first army, and Eldar were my first army, or well, kind of after I got Harlequins. So if I really was pressing, I couldn't cheat the system, and I had to say my Eldar, just because I have so much in Eldar, like more than any other army. I honestly would have to have help if I wanted to field all of my Eldar. I would have to have maybe like 4 people help me play. I mean, I have so many points in Eldar. I've even I'm such a collector, but as the years have gone, I've actually gotten rid of some stuff or given stuff to people, because it's like, man, I've got so much, I'm never going to use it all, and like I have it. So, yeah. So probably Eldar. I mean, they're if it wouldn't be that hard of a press, that's what I'd say, because I've always liked them, especially the Simhan. So, next question is from Tabletop Banter. I'm guessing it's Callum. He doesn't say. But is there an army you don't collect but want to? And what's the next long-term hobby goals in terms of armies, etc.? Funny enough question. As far as 40K goes, I have every army or every faction except for Blood Angels, and I don't want Blood Angels, and it's not it's something, I know it's weird, but back when it started in like Rogue Trader and 2nd edition, when they came out with the Angels of Death Codex, which at that time it wasn't what the new one is, it was Blood Angels and Dark Angels together in a codex. So what they would do is they'd usually split, like for the Space Marines, they'd split a lot of times the 2 different like factions in a codex, and so that's where really fluff started coming out about Lionel Johnson and Sanguinius and stuff like that. Well, at the time, the way they kind of perpetuated their gene seed is they had collected blood, and then basically the kind of like mutation or virus that was in there that spread the gene seed went in by them consuming the blood. And then there were also stories of some of them that would go mad, and they would kill even like like Imperial Guard, like squads or regiments would go missing after the battle because they're so bloodthirsty, and they could consume. Now any Space Marine can do this as far as like consume another's blood to get some of their memory, but to me they always seemed like vampires, and I absolutely hate vampires. Like I would be a hunter of vampires if they existed, and so I just refuse to play them because I call them vampires. I know they're technically not true vampires, but that's the way I look at them, so I'll never play them. Now I still collect like the codexes and stuff like that through the ages. I've gotten all those. I just don't collect the models. I mean, I think I've gotten some kits, but I've converted them to other things that were bloody. Like originally the Dreadnought, they came out with the first plastic Dreadnought, and that was actually a Blood Angel Dreadnought, so I converted it to use for my Crimson Fist. So that's as far as an army that I don't collect in 40K that I don't intend to play. As far as other games go, I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to play X-Wing too much, but I have each faction. I don't have as much of the scum as I do like Rebels and Imperial. And the main reason I collect everything is to kind of have so people can play if they don't have stuff to play. I don't really like the Imperials. I always kind of like the Rebels. I do play scum sometimes, but I don't really like the Imperials, so I rarely even play it. Like I think maybe one game, honestly, like ever. Everything else has always been Rebels or scum, and most of the battles are Rebels. I just like the Rebels. trying to think other games. I mean, like back when I played BattleTech, all the mechs you could just paint in whatever faction you wanted, so there wasn't really like specific like mechs or infantry that were. Well, they did make some infantry that were specific, like Kurita or Davian and stuff like that, but most of it was kind of general. 30K, that's kind of an expensive army to do. My plan is just to do Thousand Sons. I may end up playing Wolves, which seems kind of funny because it's like, well, you're playing Wolves and Thousand Sons. I like the fluff of both of them. I don't really like Lehman Russ that much. I think he's kind of a dick. However, I will get the model at some point because I think it's an awesome model and he's a Primarch. My goal at some point would be to collect all the Primarchs, even though I don't have any intention of playing all of them. I just would like to have them as kind of a collection and paint them all. I think that would be fun. As far as 30K goes, my main thing is really just Thousand Sons. I don't really plan on it's gonna really be my fun army to play, and so I don't really plan on really like going hog wild into 30K. Who knows? But I don't really plan on it. I really want to just do the Thousand Sons. Yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of my chance to maybe have the Thousand Sons be good, because in 40K they're always so point ineffective that they're never really that good just because they're too expensive. I don't think GW gets that. They charge too much, and it's like, oh, a 3-up and a 4-up invuln, whoop-de-doo. Like, you'd still die to DACA just as easy, and you paid a lot more points for them. So, now, in 30K they don't have the same rules. They're Legion members, but I don't know. That's what I'm interested in. So yeah, hope that answers your questions. Thanks for asking it. Chief Live Gaming, super excited about the campaign. Now the campaign's over already. Since I've done this video, he asked what my favorite thing about running them and my least favorite thing about running campaigns. Well, that's the least favorite is easy. It's there's two things. One, when you run a campaign over multiple days or time, I usually try to have people vote on, okay, do you want to do it every 2 weeks, every month, just to kind of have, so it's everybody can try to make it. And it seems like no matter what you do, people inevitably, fizzle out or stop coming, and that's frustrating. The other part is, I mean, usually when you're doing a campaign, at least when I'm doing a campaign, I've done some that are like kind of more, that are kind of competitive, but I actually have more fun like trying to do, when I do campaigns, trying to do them more fluffy and stuff. And it's always hard because I inevitably end up having to put kind of restrictions because people always want to abuse fluffy. There's always that one guy that wants to, more than one guy that's like, oh, I'm gonna, be a douche and like bring a great army and just wreck everybody's face just because I want to win and I want to be the best. And it's like, well, when you're running and you're playing in a fluffy campaign, that's not the goal. And so, yeah, even if you win, I mean, good on you, because that's not what anybody else's goal was. It doesn't make you a better player. And there's nothing wrong with winning. I'm just saying, running kind of crappy lists. And then people inevitably, when you put restrictions on, hey bud, will bitch and moan. Oh, why'd you do this? Why'd you put this restriction? And it gets really annoying hearing everybody's like gripes. It's like, can you please just play the campaign? I wouldn't put the restrictions on if people would just be cordial. But that's the hard thing, I mean, as far as favorite thing about running them, it depends on the campaign, but I really like getting into like the story and developing the story. Some of them, like one campaign I ran that was really fun. I had factions, and everybody gathered at this planet that suddenly kind of appeared out of the warp near Forge World, and so the Imperium was there, and they didn't really want anybody else there, but everybody else wanted to investigate it. Some knew more than others, but as it unfolded, I actually gave people points if they guessed. They got more points to their army and their faction if they actually kind of worked through and tried to guess what was going on the planet, like what the fluff was. And so it was really fun to kind of like, I knew what was going to go on, but everybody else is in the dark. So every mission, it, like depending on who got like, so there'd be objectives, and if you collected, depending on how many you collected, you got more information, or if you just got obliterated, you really didn't get anything. But like other team members that did win, or you know, won, they could which they would, you know, I had to set up Facebook pages for like each faction, and they could just talk amongst themselves, like, what do you think, what do you want to do here? And so it was really fun. I really liked it, and it turned out it culminated into these people were investigating this planet that appeared out of the warp, and it turned out to be so the old ones that supposedly created the Eldar and the orcs, and you know, some of the other races. They basically, that was their home planet, and the Necrons had kind of come there to it was like the final fight to destroy them. And so what ended up happening is they ended up, the old ones, producing this stasis bomb, and it basically kind of locked that whole planet in time. And then suddenly it kind of basically came, it stopped working, and it came back out of time again, and so it came into the future. So it was I mean, it was more developed than that, but it was really cool. And at the end, there was a Satan god. Basically, one of the gods was trapped there, and he was trapped on the planet. And one of the things is you actually end up getting to this area, and when you open this vault, it basically released the Satan, and so you didn't really know you were doing that. And there was a Necron player there that was in one of the factions, and I basically worked with him. And after it happened, after the Satan was released, I'm like, okay, so from now on, you're controlled by this Satan. Like, he just assumes control over you because he's so powerful. And so he kind of like was kind of subterfuging the team, because he's kind of like, he was doing stuff for the Satan, but they didn't really know it. And then at the last battle, they had a Satan that would kind of regenerate, and the goal of each team was to get a team there to like destroy this regenerator and destroy the Satan. And that was the goal of both factions, to whoever did it. There was also I took some Slann warriors from Rogue Trader. I had painted them up, and I had those as the old ones. And then I had some Eldar and some orcs and like a brain boy. So he was basically the one that was originally, you know, like in charge of the orcs. And actually, one of the people in the group, which was so awesome, named Art, made a brain boy. And like stuff like that, I love. It's like they get into the fluff too, and they're excited about it. And he actually made a model for it. Like, that was awesome. And actually, I'm like, okay, so you're an orc player, so you got this brain boy, and you can use him in battle now because he made it. I'm like, I'm gonna reward him for doing that. Like, so that's what I love about the campaigns, is really kind of getting into the story and like really, you know, getting excited about it. More so, I mean, the battles are cool too. It's fun to play the battle, get together, but like, it was fun developing that fluff. That's what I like, at least. So yeah, kind of probably a long-winded answer, but I like the campaigns because I like story writing and I like story development, and so yeah. Next question, Dark Artisan. If you could cherry pick units from each book to make a force, what would you take? That's a good question. You know, I don't know. Like, and that's a good question, and I like it. I mean, if I was gonna, I've never really. I guess I did run an Unbound list once, and that was back when the Gene Stealer cult first came out with that box set. I ran a Gene Stealer cult with Tyranids, and I actually put another Magus in there because I had my old metal Magus I wanted to use, and so I used him. So that was Unbound, because at the time they only had that formation. You really couldn't add anything else, and even now it looks like there's potentially you could have another Magus, although you may not be able to. It's kind of hard to read into that. But you know, I don't know. I'm just kind of in a different state right now. I'm kind of more about, you know, kind of fun and fluff playing, so I'm not really into cherry picking the best. I don't know. I mean, that's hard. I mean, honestly, I mean, certainly I could go through and name stuff to make like a nasty army. I mean, like you look at wraiths for Necrons, and you look at Super Friends with Thunderwolf Squad with a Librarius Conclave on bikes, and like Wolf Iron Priest or a Lord or a Wolfguard Battle Leader, and with invisibility, and basically you just can't kill the damn thing. But to me, that's not a lot of fun to play right now, so I'm not too into it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you like to play too. And there's things that I play sometimes that they work well for me because I like playing them, so I know how to use them well. But it doesn't mean that everybody would be good at playing them. I mean, for instance, for years, when Harlequins didn't have their codex, and you could only take them as part of Eldar or Dark Eldar forces, I run Harlequin heavy armies, and I do decent with them, but I knew how to play them, so they'd take advantage of like cover and stuff like that, so that they wouldn't die because they only got 5 up and vulnerable save. And if they could get there, they did really well in close combat when they hit hard. So I don't know. It's hard. I mean, that's a good question. I appreciate the comment, and I appreciate the question. I mean, I really do. It's awesome. And Dark Artisan, check out his channel. It's awesome. Great guy. A great group of guys, actually. There's some that just make me laugh so dang much. Like Phil is just ridiculous. He's just hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I don't know if I would really run an army that with cherry-picked units. I just am not into it right now. Sorry. All right. And then I got, let's see, it looks like potentially another question. Oh, it looks like Will has another question in here. It's my understanding that the 13th Company allegedly turned Renegade Chaos Marines Warband to good fighting. More information on this as well. There was, so the 13th Company basically, with the Wolfen and Russ, basically pursued the Thousand Sons into the warp, or into the Eye of Terror, basically to finish what they were requisitioned by the Emperor to do, which was eradicate the Thousand Sons or bring Magnus in. I don't think they really turned Renegade. I think they're certainly potentially tainted by Chaos to some degree, maybe. I mean, the Wolfen existed before they went into the Eye of Terror, just people don't remember it. But I think they're really just trying to fight Chaos, but they're probably, being in the warp for so long, certainly they could be tainted, who knows. But yeah, I don't think they're really traitor. But there was a in 3rd edition, which I freaking hated that edition in the beginning, but there was a book that came out that talked about the Eye of Terror and had the 13th Company in there, but that's the last time they really had rules for them. Although my guess is the second part of the Curse of the Wolfen will have Russ coming back. That's my opinion, and potentially the rest of the 13th Company. I mean, because supposedly the Wolfen are supposed to kind of come along with Russ, so I'm guessing he's coming back. In what state, I don't know. I still think he's probably going to be a Primarch. I don't think he's going to be changed that much. Supposedly I think the only way that's going to stop the Dark Angels and the Wolves from killing each other mutually is if the Watchers bring Lionel Johnson out of stasis, and him and Liam and Russ say, hey guys, knock it off, like we got to work together to beat Chaos. That's what my thinking is, what they're going to do. They may end up bringing a Demon Prince for Magnus back into it, and potentially like Lorgar or one of the other Primarchs that are traitor. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But they may bring the 13th Company rules back in if they come back from the warp. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty ragtag and tattered if there's much of them left. Another channel you could check out, which I know I'm fairly sure you already subscribe to, is Idic Beer. He's kind of building a 13th Company force for Space Marines, and he's kind of or for Space Wolves, and he's painting some with like chaos bits on them, like armor and stuff, because they've collected in the Eye of Terror, because they can't replenish themselves. So might want to check that out. All right. I'm just kind of going through these because some of these are just like comments, not questions. Tattoo for you, Richard. If you can make up a Space Marine chapter, not a successor, for one of the Forgotten Primarchs, what would it be, and what would be their defining characteristics be? So, one second, someone just tipped something over. Hello, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Had to get my daughter to take a nap. Yeah, tattoo for you. Richard asked about that with one of the Forgotten Primarchs. What would it be in defining characteristics? Obviously, I don't know if GW will ever release the information on the Primarchs. If they did, man, people would buy those books because they'd go crap nuts. The thing is, it's all fluff because the armies don't exist anymore. Although there's rumor that the Ultramarines grew and their legion was huge, and they swelled with numbers after. Is that potentially when the Emperor found the Primarchs and something was wrong with them, or they destroyed them, that he took in some of the ranks and put them into the Ultramarines. That's kind of a strongly founded rumor. It's kind of talked about in some of the books. So I think that's probably true. As far as when there's a book with about it's a short book, or maybe it was an audio book only, but Malkador the Sigillite, there's a short book, and they're walking through on Earth where the Emperor kind of first worked on the Primarchs, and all the symbols are on the door except 2 are scratched out. So you don't even know what their symbol was. And he doesn't really talk about them. But on the cover of his like little seat, he's got the legions that are missing and the numbers on there. I don't know if we'll ever know. There's one story that somebody wrote a long time ago, and I really liked it. And he developed it really well. He had this whole thing as one of the Primarchs was actually a woman, a female, and the whole Space Marine Legion, was female soldiers. And I liked that idea. I thought it was interesting and different, and that it was kind of hidden away, and they didn't really, she got along with some of the other Primarchs, I guess, like Horus and Sanguinius. Although everybody gets along with Sanguinius because he's so beautiful, he's an angel. But he really developed a lot of story and fluff behind it. I don't see GW ever doing that, to be honest. But that's what I like, and I guess if I had to choose, I would do something like that, because it'd be a really cool twist on stuff that like no one would really be expecting, and it'd be really cool to kind of do that. And it'd be cool if somehow, I don't know how they could do it. I mean, they could do anything. They could explain anything away. But if they did something where, they actually came back in the future to kind of like save the, the Imperium in the day, in the future days, like if the Emperor's like Golden Throne, fails and he dies, or, whatever happens, it'd be cool if they could do that. And that's how they explain, okay, now they're here to help, and they're more resistant to like chaos, taint, and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, that would be my idea. I don't know how they would actually, like, they could write books about it and then just kind of, say they were secreted away. One of them, I'm assuming, would have had to have been destroyed by the Space Wolves, because Lehman Russ even mentions that he had done it before, as far as when they're sent to destroy the Thousand Sons, that he had basically done this before and destroyed a legion before. So, the Space Wolves are kind of like the executioners of the Space Marines, so the enforcer, for the Emperor. So that's what I would choose. It'd be cool if they had fluff and they had some like good resistance to chaos, and because they were, I don't know. I mean, the way he had engineered them, and then they were more resistant to chaos, although that kind of gets more back to like Sisters of Battle. Although maybe they could explain it as, okay, Sisters of Battle were kind of like a set up later, but they're kind of like a idea that was like, that came because of what someone uncovered something that the Emperor had done, or maybe it didn't give away that they were Primarchs, but they had done this once. And I know the Sisters of Battle were originally set up because the ecclesiarchy weren't allowed to have any men at arms, and so like, okay, well, we'll have women, which I think that was kind of a cool idea how they kind of got around it. But I don't know. That would be my idea. I don't know if that would be everybody's taste, but I think that would be kind of cool. But I don't know if we'll ever find that out. My guess is that GW will never, that's kind of a neat little thing that they have. Although they could always, if things start to get really stale, they're like, well, let's throw them out here. Maybe something when they're through with everything on the Horus Heresy that's like, let's go back in time and like talk about these two, fallen Primarchs and their legions and what happened to them, and that would give them a chance to do more with that. I don't know. But yeah, that's my answer to that. I think that's all the questions. Thank you everybody for asking the questions. I will do another Q&A. I kind of like not doing them right away. One, because I don't have a lot of subscribers, and so I don't always get a lot of questions. And so I like giving time to kind of build up for that. But also, I'm usually doing some other things and stuff like that, so I kind of like doing them, once in a while, not all the time. There's nothing wrong with people that do it every, week or couple weeks. That's fine. Just for me, that's kind of what I've chosen to do. So I will do another one, I promise. I just don't know how soon. I don't want to put a time limit on it. I know last time I was saying I was going to try to do it once a month, and obviously that didn't happen, but we'll see. I mean, once a month might be a good goal to have, but we'll see. Anyway, there'll be some other exciting videos coming from me. Thanks for staying tuned, and thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. If you like the video, please like below, and if you have a question, please ask below. I would be happy to answer them in the next video. If there's a video that you want me to do, or a review you want me to do on something, also you can ask below and I can do that as well. So you can leave a comment below, or you can email me at wargamershawn@yahoo.com. Take care and keep on wargaming, guys. Bye.
Goodbye, you sexy motherfucker.